RotoWire fans. The My Leagues feature on RotoWire will provide lead-specific guidance to properly manage your team all season long. And if you have more than one team, great. Load them all one at a time. Our My League feature will provide player news, lineup rankings, free agent suggestions, and more, all specific to your team. If you're looking to replace our old Watchlist feature, that's fine, but we need to do that one league at a time and maybe with a custom league.
The first step is to make sure you have the correct ID and password for your account on your commissioner site. RotoWire can upload leagues from Yahoo, ESPN, NFL.com, CBS, My Fantasy League, Sleeper, NFFC, Flea Flicker, Otno, Fantrax, and Real Time Sports. But you must know your ID and your password for the commissioner site. Not entering the correct commish site ID and password is the most common mistake made by fans. So this is one of my Yahoo leagues. And what we're recommending is you sign out and then sign back in just to make sure you can test your ID and password and know that you have the correct one. Once you've got the correct ID and password for your commish site, go to RotoWire and let's head to the football section. And then let's go to My Leagues and select Add a League. You can see we have lots of different commissioner sites as options. And today I'm going to add an Otno League. So I press on the Otno button. First, it asks me for my ID, which I'm going to enter. Then it asks me to choose which league I'd like to add. I only have one league on Otno, but if I had multiples, it would list them all here. So I'm going to choose my one league. Then it's going to ask me to choose my team. Since, yes, I won it last year, I am K-Train, the 2019 champ. And I'm going to shorten the name so that it's easier to view and just call this RotoWire Staff League. Then it starts to ask me about the details of the league. This is so that we can run better stats analysis when making league-specific decisions. In Otno, it's actually a 2-quarterback league with one flex spot. So I'm going to make those changes. Then I'm going to check all the scoring options. In this league, passing TDs are only 3 points, not 4. So I'm going to make that edit. And then I'm going to save. And you can see, once I save, it's going to finish adding the league for me. Okay, once our office buddies tell us it's added, it is indeed added. Next, we'll go through all these fabulous features.
Before we dive into features on each My League webpage, let's see how My Leagues helps you throughout the RotoWire website. Let's start with player news. Our most popular feature. We'll go to latest here. And, I see there's some news on Jimmy G here, Jimmy Garoppolo. Out indefinitely with ankle injury. That stinks. Man, which of my teams has Jimmy G on him? Well, let's see. Nothing. Oh, boy. You can see right here in my staff league, I've got Jimmy Garoppolo, and I'm going to need to do something at quarterback. It's a 2 QB league. He's my number 2. That's a problem. Another feature is my leagues are integrated into our weekly rankings. So if you're like me, every week you heavily rely on Jeff Erickson's value meter. Well, as with any article, when you load in My Leagues and a player name is listed, you'll see this orange light and black lightning bolt after a name. So, for instance, and what that does is it tells you what teams manage Ryan Tannehill in the leagues you're in, or any player you're interested in. So let's look at Ryan Tannehill. When I hover over the lightning bolt, I can see that I manage Tannehill in my stake league, and other teams have him in all my other leagues. But this is really handy whenever news breaks on a player or he's mentioned in an article, you can quickly see who in your league manages that player. For every league you enter, there will be a news section within RotoWire just for your league. Each league will have its own homepage, which leads to a lot of great features. Let's go to one of my leagues. So here we are on the football page. Here's the My Leagues drop down. Let's go to my radio station league, 1013. Here's the homepage for my 1013 league. There's a lot of great features off the bat, and then there's deeper stuff we'll get into later. First off, here's all the player news for just the players on my team in this league. And if I want more, I can see it by hitting the Get More News button. Oh no, I see Jonathan Taylor has an ankle injury. Just like the other pages on RotoWire, I click on the news headline and I get the full news story. To the right is something super important, the injury report. And on my team in the 1013 league, I currently have 3 injured players. Here's their official status, and here's their participation in practice. Here is my whole roster for my 1013 league. Lamar Jackson at quarterback. So we're currently in week 8, and this is showing some key aspects of week 8 for my team. It lists what each opponent I'm facing. It shows me the weather report for each game. Raiders at Cleveland's going to be rainy. That might hurt the passing game for the Raiders. It also has the projected points for each of my players in week 8. So if I have to make a quick lineup decision, I can do it here. But if I want more analysis, well, we can get to that later. And then finally, it shows the over-under for each game. And of course, you always prefer to have a player that's in a game with a high over-under. Scrolling down on my league page, you'll see there's articles. Now, this just isn't all the articles on RotoWire. These are articles that mention players that are on my team. Oh boy, I've got some injured players, clearly, because they're showing up in the game day injury story for week 8. I could click this link here if I wanted to learn more. To the left is a quick analysis of the best free agents available in my 1013 league. Right now, these are based on rest of season projected stats, which you can also see down here. So right now, our projections are saying that Cam Newton is the best available free agent in this particular league. Then if we scroll down even more, you can see we make it very easy to leverage the Ask an Expert feature for RotoWire subscribers. And we'll even preload the settings of your league so that in your message to RotoWire experts, the expert knows what kind of league he's dealing with. And you can send that question in via this big blue button here. That's the home page for your league. But as you can see, there's a ton of other features, which we'll get to next. Let's now look at some of the deeper options that are provided through the My League pages, starting with this, Best Lineup. You have two choices for Best Lineup. You can rely on the weekly projections, which is a collection of various inputs, both statistical algorithms as well as contributions from many RotoWire writers. Or you can rely on the Best Lineup as suggested by Jeff Erickson's weekly value meter column. For this tutorial, let's look at Jeff's value meter suggestions. The site is saying for week 8 in my 101-3 league, I should start Lamar Jackson, Ezekiel Elliott, Jonathan Taylor, Tyler Boyd, and others. And these are the players it's suggesting should be on my bench. But you know what? I went to Northwestern, and Justin Jackson is a Northwestern graduate. So what the heck? I'd like to lock him into my lineup. So all I have to do is lock him in as either a running back or flex. In this case, I'll choose flex. And then click the lock icon. Once I say get best lineup again, using this button, now it's returning my best lineup with Justin Jackson locked in as the flex. Next, let's use My Leagues to see the stats of my team. You can see I have all these options, whether I want to look at totals per game, certain weeks, the entire season, and it shows the stats for all the players on my team in this league. It's pretty self-explanatory. Now let's say it's time to make free agent bids. Well, let's use the top free agents tool. And again, you can decide to do this based on weekly projections. Maybe you just need to fill a gap for 1 week. Rest of season projections, or on the most added and dropped players based on stats we get from my fantasy league. Let's go with rest of season projections. It's saying that Cam Newton, as we saw on the other page, is the best free agent pickup. But let's say I need tight end help. Just click on tight end within my particular league. And the site is saying that Logan Thomas, based on rest of season projections, is the best tight end to add for my team. Let's say you're interested in the playing time trends of your team. We have that under playing time. There's snaps, targets, rushes, and games started, as well as depth chart status, again, for all the players on your team. Also dives into some stats based on the weekly opponent your players are facing this week. Cheat sheet. This is the player rankings for your league in an easy-to-scan format. It starts with all the rosters. This can be particularly handy if you're looking to make a trade with someone. Let's say you need a quarterback. Well, let's look at your whole league by quarterback. You can see that my team has Lamar Jackson, who we say is 21 overall rankings. And scrolling. Oh, Market Square Heroes has Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers. Well, with Wilson in the fold, maybe he'd be willing to trade me Aaron Rodgers. You get the idea. Trade analysis gets even more specific. You can do a trade analyzer where you enter a suggested trade to see what with stats we predict will occur. You can use the trade finder find potential trades for your team, or you can just compare two players against each other without even worrying about the trade details. These are pretty self-explanatory tools that we suggest you try on your own. Next are the power rankings. This is really for fun. See how you think, or how RotoWire says you stack up relative to the other teams in your league. Oh, this is nice. RotoWire says I'm the second best team in the league. All right, I'll take it. And then for draft analysis, use the draft analysis tab.
Two last things we want to discuss. Number one, a reminder to refresh your leagues. And number two, an explanation of how to replicate the old My RotoWire Watchlist feature using the new Custom League option. Let's start with refreshing your league. So you're probably wondering, hey, okay, great, I added my league, but I know rosters are going to constantly change throughout the season. Well, there's an easy way to manage that. Let's start in the football section of RotoWire, and we'll go to the My Leagues drop-down. Here are all the leagues I've added. Well, periodically, maybe even every other day or so, you're probably going to want to edit your leagues so that you can refresh rosters. Think about it. Throughout the season, teams drop players, add players, and make trades. Well, to keep up with those changes, you're going to want to refresh your rosters, and that's as easy as hitting this button. You'll see this refresh rosters option on other pages as well. You just click it, and boom, the site goes into each one of your leagues and quickly updates the rosters. Now let's discuss how to replicate the old My RotoWire watch list features. Fans of the old My RotoWire feature will remember that this old tool allowed fans to keep an eye on any players that they were interested in via emails and the My RotoWire pages. Well, I know that those pages no longer exist, and I can tell you I used to use them all the time. The good news is the My Leagues Custom Leagues feature lets you do all the same things. Also, you can manage email alerts for any and all of your leagues, not just the custom leagues. Let's see how. So, let's say with the My RotoWire leagues, you used it to maybe keep an eye on a bunch of young prospects. Maybe they're not on any of your current rosters, but you wanted to know the latest news on them should you want to add them later. Easy. The way to do that is to create a custom league. So let's do that now. First, we'll go to the football section and the My Leagues drop-down. You'll see I have one custom league right here called Northwestern. I use this to track how Northwestern football players are doing in the pros. But let's add another custom league to let you follow prospects. So I'm going to click the Add a League option, and I'm going to choose this, the Custom League option, because what I'm really doing is creating a watch list. You can also use this for commissioner leagues or commissioner sites that are not currently integrated with RotoWire. All right, so what's your league name? I'm going to call this Watch List. And then what's your team name? I'll call this Prospects. I could add more teams to the league, but I don't need to. Now I'm going to save my league details. Now, if I wanted to, I could update all the possible roster options for this custom league. But since I'm just creating this to follow prospects, I'm going to stick with the defaults and hit Save Roster Settings. Again, if this was a new custom league I was adding, I could also update all the scoring systems. But again, this is just for a watch list, so I'll go with the defaults. Great, our league is done. Now, let's say for prospects, maybe I'm really interested in rookie running back A.J. Dillon with the Packers. I'm going to search for Dillon. There he is, and I'm going to hit Add. And maybe I'm interested in fellow rookie Antonio Gibson with Washington. There he is, and I'll add that. Great. I'm going to hit return to your league home. And you're going to see that I have a custom league called Watchlist, where my team's called Prospects. I could have called them anything. And here's the latest news on them. Here's the latest injury info, upcoming Week 9 info, and articles where they were mentioned. And I could make this roster as big and small as I wanted to. Again, you can also use this feature to build a custom league or a commissioner league that is not integrated with RotoWire. All right. Now let's look at how you can receive email alerts with news on players for any of your teams that you've loaded into My Leagues. You can do this for custom leagues, or you can do this with integrated leagues. It's easy. So let's go again. We're in the football section. We'll go to the My Leagues drop down, and we'll go to View, Edit Leagues. And looky here, there's a button called Manage Email Alerts. Personally, I love email alerts. They let me know throughout the day any new news regarding players on all my different rosters. So I'm going to go to Manage Email Alerts. And you can see it's true for all the different sports where we have My Leagues options. I've turned off my baseball updates because we're in the off season now, and rosters renew every year, so I don't really care too much about news for that team right now. I'm in a keeper league for basketball, so I want news throughout the year, and even though we're in the basketball off season, I still want email updates on my roster. Now you can see for my 7 leagues, I'm getting email alerts. The checkbox has been checked. But for that new watch list, the default is to not receive emails. So if you want emails, you need to check this box. And boom, that's saved. And now I'll get player news notes sent directly to my inbox. Make sure with your account, it has the preferred email that you want. And this link here will let you update your email address. Or you can just edit your account. All right, that has been our tutorial for how to use the My Leagues feature for football leagues in RotoWire. We think it's a great way for you to dominate your leagues throughout the season by properly making as many strong roster moves as possible. Thanks, and have a great season.